Hey, what's happening? I am Tommy, and you're on the lifeboat. What's happening? Well, I hope you're having a heck of a day. Oops. Hope you're having a good day. It's been a good one here. I got to get outside a little bit. People probably see a little bit of sun on you. I spent some time out there with Hawks. Got to toss around a football a little bit, which was fun. Hadn't done that in a few years. Shelly Kelly, good to see you. Happy birthday, day late. Ben Bacon Bits Turner, good to see you. Sandy Wendy, what's happening? Goddess Divine, good to see you. Lumen, how are you? I'm hoping. There's Layla Bradley. How you doing? Debbie P. Hi again. Lori Hart, good to see you. There she is. Hi, Carol. From Needing a Meeting. If you've never caught that, you should. You really should. I saw it the last 2 days. I've actually been ducking in on a lot of them. Jamie Smith, hello again. Bridget Alexander, hello again. Kid is making her way in and out. Brian Boland, good to see you. Kid's been kind of making her way in and out. Sometimes she kicks it for a little bit, though. Cheshire Cat, good to see you. Glad you're here. What's up? Conversations with Kirsty. Lynn's Sanity. I'm here, but I'm just going to lurk. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with lurking. Nothing wrong with lurking at all. Mary, how are you? Nah, nothing wrong with lurking. My son had some nice things to say about me today. Well, there's a shocker. I'm blessed that my kid loves me. Spanky he's a great son. He really is. I've been blessed beyond belief. Gary Mackey, good to see you. Glad you're here. SG, Admiral is on the bridge. There's no getting around it. I am going to be here. Man, I need to trim this. It is driving me absolutely insane. It is so big. Eleanor, how are you? You going to hang out for a few minutes before sleepy time? Well, you're not going sleepy time just yet, so you need to hang out. Now, let me tell you how this works. I love everybody here. I do. There's nobody here I don't love, because if I don't love you, I've probably already blocked you. Know what I mean? I mean, it's seriously, it's that kind of family, right? So here's what I would like you to do. I would like you to realize that there are times when 5 of you have a birthday on the same day, right? And it makes it very difficult to sing a happy birthday to 5 of you, right? Jem's Journey, good to see you. And I kind of swore off it, but it is Eleanor's birthday today. And nobody else has reached out to me to tell me it's theirs. But my cat will be very annoyed when she smells Kid on me. Yeah, Squirrel will lose her mind. Squirrel's going to be worse than Quibble. I promise it's going to be vicious when I see Squirrel. She is not going to be happy. Kid, think of a better name. I'm glad you're here. Yes, what an awesome problem to have, though. All right, people. So here we're going to go. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Ellie J. Happy birthday to you. Eleanor, thank you for all the love and support here on the boat. I mean it. I'm glad that you're a part of this. That goes to all of you, too. But happy birthday, Ellie J. It is her birthday today. And pretty happy about that. Pretty darn happy about that. Patronzi 20, new member. Thank you. That is a hand kitty. Holy hell, if Spanks Calhoun were here. That cat looks so much like the one he grew up with. Wow. We were Team Gray Cat. I had a little sticker on the door, actually, of my house when Spanky was a kid that said Team Gray Cat. Because all of our cats were gray. Hello, Ray Ray. I'm glad you're here, bud. Truthfully, every single one of my cats was gray, and they were all different. I had one that was almost Maine Coon in size. That was Spank's cat. Spanky had a cat named Ralphie, and Ralphie was like 20 pounds. He's a big, big boy, a really big boy. Sorry. Lisa Trimble says, I'm hoping things will be quiet for a few days. Still kind of rough, though. Roommate has an appointment with a surgeon June 6th, hoping for the best. Well, here's some thoughts and prayers that between now and then, right? That if you don't know, if you're not hip to what Lisa's doing, her roommate is got very, very serious health problems, and she's taking care of him in a way that very few people would or could. And she's just been honest to God, an absolute star about it. But that's not an easy thing to do. And I know that it wears you down. I really do. I know that it wears you down. Hey, Karen Pooley, and that kind of bums me out. But we're all here for you, and we're really glad when you're not suffering in silence, Lisa. You know what I mean? For real. We're glad that you're here, and we're glad that you're talking to us because sometimes people withdraw when they're not having a good time, right? And that's never a good thing. Hello, sweet tea. Maybe I should do that. Do the happy birthday thing once a month and just get like a list of about 600 names. I always feel bad if I don't have a name attached to it. I really do. Alabama, what's happening? I used to do this much more often, but we didn't have as many people, right? It's a little tougher. It's a bit tougher when you're getting up into the bigger numbers, right? But it's worth it. Haven't been here in a while. My son has been in bad shape, but I'm lucky to be back. Thoughts and prayers for your son. I'm terribly sorry that he's in bad shape. And a lot of that going around. I'm not being flippant or anything else. I'm serious. Kathy Ann, good to see you. Appreciate all you do. I mean, there's a lot of that going around. I can't tell you the number of people that are starting to hang out on the boat because they have family members who are struggling with whatever, one thing or another, doesn't matter. But they're not here necessarily because of what they're doing. They're here because of somebody else, and I love that. I mean, seriously, how much love does it take to watch me if you're watching for somebody else? 2.5 days, Miss Sunrise Dawn. 2.5 days, no cigs. I promise I'll stop doing that daily in a week or two. Oh, I don't think you need to stop doing that daily in a week or two. I don't have no problem at all doing that. Right? You keep that up. We can do that for a long time. I don't have a problem with that. What you're doing is tough. Tough. Jamie Palmer says, I think I broke my foot a couple of years ago. Rolled my ankle on the stairs. Fell off them. I was sure I broke it. Couldn't put weight on it for a week. Had to wrap ice around it. You know what? If I had $1 for every time I've done that, oh man, I can't tell you. Lori Hart says, tomorrow makes 30 days of walking every morning, and you guys help me get started. How good is that feeling after a month of walking every morning? Tell the truth. I'm telling you, that's life changing. It really is. It's life changing. Oh, Roberta. Oh, I love you. What a nice thing to say. It's such a kind thing to say. It really is. If none of my U.S. nurse colleagues are in here, feel free to message me. Otherwise, rest, ice, compression, and elevation as a start. Sorry to teach you. Now, you know what, Ellie? I appreciate that. I love how people sort of all kind of rally around people that that need it. Just whatever that shape that takes. What did they say in the last show? It's like meeting people where they live or something along those lines. I like the way it sounded. Thank you all. Hubby is still smoking here. And so the SIGs are here, but I'm done with them. That's hard when someone else is doing it too. That is really, really hard. And I have mad respect for the fact that you're doing it. Can I tell you what I've seen over the years? This is odd, but it's a stone cold fact. If the situation is exactly how it is right now, you have a woman who's not smoking and you have a guy that is, right? He will eventually quit because of you. I have seen this. When it's the other way around, it doesn't always seem to work that way. Honestly, I'm not sure why that is. Maybe women are better at getting guys to do things than guys are getting women to do things. But I have faith that your husband is going to meet you and eventually just go, I'm done. And then you start tasting stuff, and then you get like our friend, and you walk every day for a month, right? You walk every single day for a month. You don't have to do a crap load of it, right? It's a little 15, 20 minutes. They say 26 is optimal. I don't know why that is, but 26 to 28, I can't remember. But it's not a lot, right? If you can get out there and bang out 15 or 20 minutes a day of walking, it's going to change your life. I promise you. It's going to change your life. You do not need to get wildly into working out to see a wicked change. Hey, Lisa Black, hey, Jason P. Crafty Witch, good to see you. See that? See that? See that? Well, Mary, I hope that MRI is not painful. Yeah. Here's thoughts and prayers. Hopefully your foot gets better before you got to show up for that, because that sucks. Really, that sucks. You know what? I kind of made a big deal about Kristen Melinda the other day, and I'm never trying to put anybody on blast when I do this stuff. I'm really not. I'm never trying to embarrass anybody or anything else, but there are people here that do things that just leave you blown away, right? And watching Kristen walk away from the job that she had to do the job she's doing now. Basically, she left the meat grinder of that whole engine that we can't stand, right? All of it, insurance, big pharma, medicine, all that crap, and now is working one-on-one, right? With working with people directly. You know, you do not have to be a rocket scientist to realize that, hey, that switch there never comes with a pay raise. Feel me? It just doesn't. There's not as much money in helping people as there is in effing people over, right? Take it from me, because I spent the first half of my life effing people over, and boy, there's a lot more money in it. Problem is, that's all there is in it. You give up your soul, right? You give up everything that you believe in, and it's just like how a cult gets you. The same thing. Really small bites, and you can take down anything, right? You can eat an elephant if you do it in small bites. You can eat anything if you do it in small bites. Yeah, it isn't that insane. It is insane. There's not a lot of money in helping people. And you know what else is incredible? If you rip people off, the amount of people that will give you crap about it is really small. I'm not joking. But if you help people, they will come out of the woodworks to tell you what a scumbag you are. It's amazing. Space Diesel, how are you, man? Good to see you. Incarna Soul, glad you're here. Brazy Girl, hang in there, right? Hang in there. You know what you're doing. You know that, we got to make it a while until you get in there, right? And then once you get in there, you're going to talk to a doctor who's going to help you with medical assisted treatment. And I promise you, that that medical assisted treatment is going to change your life. It really is. MAT works 100 out of 100 times when people want to quit. When people have a support group, when people have people that they can talk to, right? When everything is in place, medical assisted treatment is a tool that goes alongside of everything else. It isn't a magic bullet. They don't make magic bullets. I wish they did, right? Jason P says, in all seriousness, KM, that'd be Kristen Melinda, has made me think twice about how I feel about therapists in a good way for once. How cool is that? How cool is that? It's pretty cool. Oh, wow. I'm a little terrified too. I'm not being disrespectful, but if you're new to the boat, Barry's been pretty open and honest about the fact that he's taking 3 different respiratory depressants. Mixing respiratory depressants is incredibly dangerous because it slows down your breathing and very often makes you so relaxed that you won't do the, like the sleep apnea wake up sound. You just sleep through it. So with her husband waking her up all the time, we tend to feel it. We feel a little bit more secure with it when he's there, Bersy. I think everybody probably feels that way. And I'll be fine. I really hope so, right? I'm going to pray for you, I promise. But do us a favor maybe and just dial it back a notch while he's out of town, right? Drink a little bit less. I'm not telling you to go sober or do anything that's going to make you super uncomfortable, but knowing what you've been doing and you've been steadily successful with that, back it off a notch. Couple of drinks, 1 pill, whatever, but back it off a notch so that you're not pushing that envelope without people there. Please do that for me. Please. Chris Molina says, thank you, Tommy, and thank you, everybody. Y'all gave me the guts to make a change. It's hard, but it's right, and I am a better person for being here. I love that. Brazy, you know I'm not being mean, right? I love you. I love you. I'm not picking on you in any way. I just don't want anything bad to happen to you. And I want to put on a tie. I want you to get to that appointment on Tuesday and get on medical assisted treatment. Have it be, you're ready for a good cliche, the first day of the rest of your life. For real, right? Lori Hart says, I finally have the insurance that will pay for therapy. I'm giving it real consideration. Give it more than consideration. Therapy works. Therapy saved my life, right? Therapy works. It works for every single person that does it, for real. Priscilla Jagger says, I'm a therapist who's been practicing in the field for 20 years. This is the first time in my life I haven't had to work 2 jobs. But if you could throw a ball through a hoop at 30 feet, you could make 40 million a year. Because that's so much more valuable than somebody that helps put someone's brain back together, right? So much more valuable than somebody who helps someone get through trauma, death, drug addiction. You guys have the some of the greatest people in the world, and they're just not compensated. Oh, kitty, are you limping? You poor kitty. She looks like she's limping a little bit. Yeah, Priscilla, that's tough. The tragedy says the only way I could get off opiates was using Suboxone. Good. Medical assisted treatment. All right. The cat is going to not want me to wear my headphones apparently tonight. Right. So you want to sit right here, kitty? That's okay. Everybody can hear you purr. Yeah, Suboxone. Look, medical assisted treatment, right? Medical assisted treatment in association with, right? That is saving people's lives every day. The stuff that's in we talked about this yesterday pretty long and hard. The stuff that's in our drug supply right now, right, is poison. There was a very interesting article that was sent to me right before I went live, and not interesting in a cool way, sadly. Interesting in a very sad way. There's a guy named Brian Nastandi. He's a California assemblyman. Now, normally, assembly members aren't going hard to the paint, right? They tend not to be partiers. They tend to be business people and people that, hold on one second. There you go. You can hang out right there with me. There you go. This guy, they say overdosed on fentanyl. However, he had so much stuff in his body that it's absolutely incredible. They're talking about a ton of different drugs, and it's a really clean cut. This is not what you expect. Right? You really do not expect to see this crawling into every single aspect of life. And by you, I'm not talking about me, right? I'm not talking probably about any of us here. We all have a pretty good handle on this, right? But when things like this happen, sadly, it's really good for the cause. I mean, I'm not happy that anybody dies, but when people realize that this isn't a them problem, it isn't a ghetto problem, it isn't a white or black problem, it's an everybody problem. And I talked about this before on the boat. You know, when World War II rolled around, it really looked like we were, we might have all been speaking German. And what, they still talk about that generation, the greatest generation, right? The greatest generation, because there was something that was rising up against us that looked like it might take the entire world out. And these youngsters, honestly, youngsters, so kids that should have been in theaters, right? Getting drunk, doing the things that you did right out of high school. But no, these guys went over and saved the world. And that's pretty heavy, man, right? Really heavy. Lori Hart, I love that. Medical assisted treatment works. What we have right now going on in the world, this is our World War II. I mean, everybody hasn't got the memo yet, but this is our World War II. I promise it is. We didn't lose 1 million people in World War II, not even close, right? Opiates have killed more Americans, just Americans, than all of the wars we've had in the modern era combined. Right? We're approaching the 1 million mark. And they're lying. They're friggin' lying. It's not even close. It's not. It's not even close to what they're claiming. So much more than that. I told you how they get around the statistic. There are so many different ways that those statistics just don't ring true. There are so many deaths that are not going to get blamed on it. And currently, if you're testing somebody for fentanyl, right, you got to test somebody for nits, right? Phyto and isonitazine. You got to start testing people on that every time somebody drops, because there's an excellent chance that they're not taking fent, right? The new bathtub stuff out there is not going to be caught on a test testing for fentanyl. You actually need another panel on the piss test, right? Now they sell 27 panel, 32 panel. Each panel is another drug. And when the urine fills the cup, you get a line that says the sample is good, right? It means it's no adulterants. It's got enough solid in it, all that. It says that's good. That's the first line. And the second tells you if there's anything in it, right? They tell you if something is in it or not. And then, like as I said in the last show, then they start putting it into little machines and doing all of that stuff. But we're talking about, but the war that's going on right now, this is our war. We're losing more people daily than we lost in any war ever. When they were doing the body counts in Vietnam, they weren't talking about 300 people a day. They weren't. We would have lost our mind if 300 soldiers a day were dying. We don't care anymore because these aren't soldiers, they're junkies. Right? I mean, keep it real. Trust and believe if these were soldiers, or if these were teachers, if these were doctors, if these were lawyers, if these were anything but junkies, we'd lose our friggin' mind. Last week, I saw my first street junkie nodding off. I cried for her. I do that a lot. Puts a lump in my throat every single time I see somebody. And these days, what you see are the zombies. You see this crap. They're standing there doing the nod. They're literally, they're going unconscious on their feet. And each time they feel themselves, they'll catch. And it's the most horrific thing in the world to watch. It really is. Barbie, I'm sorry. Barbie MO4 says, a young man in my family unalived himself 1.5 years with fent. His birthday was today. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I am really sorry. That's awful. It really is. And unfortunately, I really wish that this wasn't the case, but there's nobody in this country that doesn't know somebody that died. Nobody. It's just we've hit the critical mass point when you got 1 million people, right, who die. Yeah, Zarina, you know what? Honestly, I think of things like that. I really do. I'll look at people and wonder, because every single person you see nodding out on their feet, somebody gave usually a first and middle and last name to, and thought, I'm going to love this kid. I'm going to give this kid everything. Right? Nobody plans to have their kid turn into a junkie. This is our war, and we're not doing anything about it. We're just not. And I'm going to tell you something. We're not seeing the huge effects yet, but they're coming. I promise you, they're coming. When what ends up happening is when you're losing this many people, all of a sudden now it starts to really affecting things. It starts affecting things like economies. No joke, right? We're talking about losing a crap load of our workforce. 300 people a day. This has been going on for a long time. We're approaching 1 million people that got pulled out of the workforce. How many are out there wasted, not showing up for work? Right? They got a habit. They're not dead. We think of the numbers of people who die every day and we go 300 people a day. My God, that's a lot of people. How many didn't die today? How many people out there today were doing crap loads of fent or crap loads of trank, drugs that literally turn you into a zombie, right? In fact, they're calling it zombie drugs, right? It's pretty ugly, isn't it? Sometimes, I mean, I spent 30 years as a needle addict, addicted to opiates. My drug was heroin, which is amazingly, we look back on the good old days when we had a safe heroin supply. It's incredible, isn't it? But that's where we're at. You know, the stuff that's out there now. I think that maybe the people that are passing away might be lucky. I'm not even being funny. You know, being enslaved to that stuff for the rest of your life, it's a really tough way to spend the rest of your life. I don't know that I would want to do it. And I mean, ideally, what we'd like to do is get everybody into medical assisted treatment and hold everybody's hand through that process. And you know what? We're going to try as hard as we can to save as many people as possible. But holy hell, a lot of people need to step up to the plate. You know what I mean? We need a lot more people to step up to the plate. KP Nordic, I'm glad you're here. Good to see you. I'm so sorry to hear that, Brazy. Brazy says my BFF was a weed user. He purchased spiked weed. He was effed, was beaten to death. The killer got 3 years on camera too. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. It really is. I am so sorry to hear that. I agree. I agree. Allison Metcalf Palumbo says, and those are the direct deaths from using. Add in deaths due to deals gone bad or someone being trafficked or unalived as part of the drug trade. People shooting each other to take over street corners, right? People dying in the desert carrying backpacks full of fentanyl. Go the wrong way, you're in the Arizona desert. You know, if you make a wrong turn, you're going to die out there, and a bunch of people do, right? There are bodies littering that no man's land between Arizona and Mexico. It's horrific. By the time you add it all in, this is our World War II, man. This is literally destroying our country. It's and guess what? What we do here is just come into a country near you, because we're the world's biggest consumers of dope, but usually you guys are just a few steps behind us. When Brazy said she saw somebody on the street, that's Canada, right? Canada's torn up with fent, maybe worse than us, especially in a couple of their hot spots, really, really bad. But the Aussies, Brits, there's nobody that isn't seeing fentanyl on the street. It's cheaper to make than heroin. That's what you're going to see, right? Why would you smuggle a drug into a country if you could make the drug in the country, right? And with the new recipes now, right? Because the drugs they're making now are they're not a fentanyl family, right? So it's a completely different type of painkiller that was tried in the 50s and given up on because it was not particularly stable. You know, it was too much is basically what it was. It's so much stronger it's 50 times stronger than fentanyl. You don't need anything 50 times stronger than fentanyl. Tommy, before you were talking about your past, I posit that it is that past that makes you such an effective admiral of this boat. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. And I think you're probably right. I have gone places and I have seen things that nobody should. Not being funny. The places I went, I wouldn't want to take anybody with me. I wouldn't want to take anybody there. The stuff that I certainly have a much different view of drugs and of that drug trade and all of that, because I was certainly in it. You live in the Toronto area, Barbie. Well, God bless you. I spent a lot of time in Toronto. It's so I told you guys I did a deal, a company out of Canada, and we had an office on the east side of Canada in Montreal, and we had one in Vancouver. And Vancouver, like I always liked to go to Vancouver. I didn't want to go to the eastern part because it was way harder to get dope. Like it was so easy to get dope in Vancouver. It's the easiest city on the planet that I have ever gone to score drugs. That's sad, right? I'm sorry to say that, but it is the truth. I was there 2 minutes. I mean, people walking up the street were just approaching me before I asked anybody anything. Like I had to have had a look on my face, I guess, but people were walking up going, "What are you looking for? What are you looking for?" I didn't have to wait while somebody went and got something. It was on them. It's bad there. It's really, really bad there. You know what? Don't feel like the Lone Ranger, right? Um, don't feel like the Lone Ranger. I had my daughter here, and I said, I talk to my daughter about fentanyl all the time. I talk to her about opiates. I talk to her about opioids. I talk to her about the fact that you can't take a pill that's out of a bottle unless the pill bottle came from a pharmacy that you received from the pharmacist that has your friggin' name on it, and nobody's touched it other than you. Because nothing on the streets these days, like you just don't know, right? You don't know if it's real or if it's fake, and it's really, really dangerous. Stephanie W says, the question is, when will we decide to deal with our underlying issues instead of these expensive band-aids to treat the inevitable symptoms of the problems? Yeah, I don't even know that we use band-aids, right? I think I would have a little bit more respect if we used band-aids. We do a knee-jerk reaction that is always way over the top and always in the wrong direction, right? People are dying of fentanyl. So what we need to do is pass a law that if you're around somebody that dies on fentanyl, you should do life in prison. Right? Let's make sure nobody calls the cops when somebody falls down. You know, honestly, some of the stuff that they're doing is just plain stupid. Just like when this started, and I could go to my pain specialist and get 12 Oxycontin 80s, right? A day. No problem. That's just, they were giving it to everybody. Then the government said, oh, this stuff's bad. Knee jerk reaction wasn't, okay, let's find something to replace what we're giving these people, right? Because they're not going to stop taking it. I was at a pain specialist. I wasn't on the street. I was going to a friggin' doctor. They went, you're done. I'm not kidding. Every doctor was afraid to write a friggin' prescription. And I went, my doctor said, I can get you methadone. That's the only thing I can write you a prescription for. I'm sorry, what? You're going to take me from 12 Oxycontin 80s a day to methadone? How much methadone do you intend to put me on? 330 milligrams a day. I don't know if you've ever done methadone, but if you have, wrap your brain around that. That's what they wanted me to take. I, didn't seem like a really good idea to me. So you know what I did instead? Thank you, my friend, just because I love the lifeboat. You know what I did instead? I sold it. I sold as much of it as I could. Sold it for a ton of money because it was very expensive stuff. I was getting in the 40 milligram wafers and people dug those. So I sold them and then I bought heroin. And so did so many other people. It drove the users to the street. Yeah, 330, no lie. And they weren't even making me take liquid. Cricket, I'm getting sent home with sleeves this long, full of the 40s, those big, huge, look like an Alka-Seltzer, huge, huge tablets. Wasn't even giving it to me in liquid. It was the dumbest crap in the entire world. And because this was not I didn't go to a clinic. I drove to a pharmacy and the pharmacist would give me all the stuff and I'd take it home. I didn't have to go to a clinic. I didn't have to do any of that. It was a terrible idea, but they did it to everybody. So many people that needed pain medication and they just got kicked to the street. It's not a sin to be in pain. Now, I'm a junkie. I'm not talking about me, but it is not a sin to be in pain. And a bunch of people out there are actually trying to treat pain. Doesn't make them a bad person. And we shouldn't villainize people that try to. But see, these laws that we're passing are effing the people that aren't screwing with the drugs. My new pain doctor poo-pooed methadone. Well, That usually goes one way or the other on that. There are a lot of people that the stigma of the drug is really rugged. And here's my personal opinion on methadone. I don't think methadone I don't love it as a drug to treat opioid addiction, but I think it's a great painkiller, right? The half-life on it is longer than plutonium, right? It takes so long to get that crap out of your system that it builds up. So if you're trying to treat pain, it's a winner. It's a winner. Trouble is you can mix it with anything you want, right? Whereas Suboxone's a lot harder to do that. So you can have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And now if you're treating pain, that's not a problem. But if what you're doing is trying to get clean, it's so easy to keep 1 foot in that world and 1 foot in the other one. Go and get stuff every morning and maybe shoot a little dope in the afternoon, right? If you're taking less than 80 milligrams, it's not even blocking the stuff, right? Now, if you took more than 80, there are things you can do to drop that really quick so you can do a shot of dope and feel it. And every junkie knows what to do to drop the level you got in your body like that so that they can fix. There's nobody that doesn't. If you're a junkie, you absolutely know how to manipulate that, and most do. And that's why I never thought it was a great, and not to mention the fact that we once had stolen a bunch of it. And we were drinking this stuff out of like wine glasses. We were drinking it like nonstop, really partying on it, not doing it to stay. I mean, we had gallons. We were partying on it. And I went to jail, then prison with that habit. And I have never, ever kicked anything. The hell that it took to get off the stuff. I vomited every day for about 3 or 4 months. Like just that's how every morning started, with vomiting and dry heaves. I would never take the substance again for any reason. But I'm not normal, right? I'm definitely different. It is a great painkiller. I wasn't looking for a great painkiller. Around me, they eventually cracked down hard on methadone wafers too and made everybody go to the Suboxone clinic. You know what? As I was just saying, I'm not sure how much I think that's a bad idea. Wow. Sam Fibro Fox, that sucks, says, I was prescribed morphine, then fent. When I decided to stop, my doctor walked out with my remaining supply and wouldn't help me with withdrawal. It's a horrible come off. Your doctor's a scumbag. I'm sorry. You're going to let somebody get into that position and then kick them to the curb and say, best of luck? That's disgusting. Your doc's a piece of crap. Honestly, that's horrific. But this is what I mean by it's not a Band-Aid. It's a knee-jerk reaction. They're also friggin' paranoid. They went from take anything you want to I'm not even going to help you get off of it. Genius. Love and hugs for those who need them and those who just want them. Lisa Trimble, I love you. I really do. Wow. Your best friend had ankylosing spondylitis from high school. She was in extraordinary pain for many years. She was prescribed Oxy when it first hit. It was a long downhill death from there. Rest in peace, Candy. Please, thoughts and prayers for her and her family. That's everybody knows somebody who lost someone. Absolutely, Caddy. Knock yourself out. Ask a quick question. You can ask a slow question. I'm good. Ask any question you want. It's a sin here in Jersey to be in pain. I couldn't even get effective cough medicine because can't get Tylenol 3s over the counter. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's yeah. Wait. It's stronger than radiation. What are we talking about? What's stronger than radiation? I'm not sure what was stronger than radiation. I'm not sure what we're talking about. But I don't know. Let me see. Hey, Kim Roy, good to see you. KP Nordic, have a good night. Thank you for spending some time with us. I appreciate you. It's good for the people who do well on Suboxone. It's just a hassle to go to the clinic every single day. You got to plan your whole schedule around that clinic. I don't go to a clinic for my Suboxone, and I never have. I get my stuff through through Quick MD. I visit a doctor face to face. He calls it into my pharmacy and I pick up a 60-day supply at once. I don't, it's got to be a pain in the ass to go to a clinic every day. It makes you feel like a drug addict. It makes you feel like you got to show up every day to go do stuff. And you kind of want to get that out of your head, right? That's why the shot's so fantastic, because you're not even taking stuff, right? The shot is even better. In my opinion, I haven't tried it, but I think it's such a great concept. The most I ever got was Perk 5s after surgery, or Vicodin 5. Where does this stuff happen? Well, I guess Jersey is, I guess not in Jersey, right? I'm allergic to codeine, and doctors always think I'm drug seeking when I tell them. But I have an oxy right now and take maybe one pill a month. Lori, that's because every needle addict in the world says they're allergic, right? They all say I'm allergic to codeine. Everybody, because we don't want Tylenol 3 with codeine. God for friggin' bid, they write us Tylenol 3 with codeine. So you got to take that off the table. And the easiest way to do that is to say, I'm allergic to codeine. And also, most doctors then try to give you something that's a synthetic. And the synthetics tend to have a lot more punch, right? The stuff that comes from poppy, you can only make so strong. The synthetics, you can keep cranking that up as much as you want because there's no poppy. Tommy, you can ask me a weird question. You can ask me any question you want. Let's go. Let's go. Ask that puppy. Would our government let out all of the prisoners if we went to World War III? No chance in hell. No chance in hell would they let out the inmates. Tell you what they would do, right? They would go in there, and if you had a sentence that was about 5 years to the gate or less, they're going to take you out of your cell and they're going to let you go. That's what they would do. The guys that had sentences longer than that, I would not want to be them. I would not want to be them. I don't know if it's still on the books, but we had a law on the books that actually covered this, right? Guys will do the freedom of information stuff to get it in. It was actually signed during the Kennedy administration. But what to do in case that exact scenario happens? Either we get attacked or whatever, but we go to martial law. We got 3 million people in the U.S. who are incarcerated. What do? Well, if they're under 5 years, you let them out. And if they're over 5 years, sorry about your luck, because they're not going to leave you in there either. They're not going to pay to keep doing it. They're not. They're going to smoke you. I have a friend who's on the Bupe implant shot. She's doing really good. Trips Captain, I'm so glad to hear that. I've not yet heard anybody say anything negative about it. Where can you get Tylenol 3 OTC in Canada? Yeah, well, you used to be able to, right? You used to be able to, but now it's different. I remember doing it, though. I used to do it in your hometown. I used to go directly to the pharmacy in Vancouver and buy Tylenol 3 with codeine in big-ass bottles. But they don't do anything. I mean, if you're really addicted to opiates, that stuff's just going to make you angry. For real, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to make you really, really mad. Janet G does this a lot. Thank you so much, Janet G. Those are hot sauce packets, you know. Q's kicking butt and taking names. He really is. He's kicking butt and taking names. Even if we were attacked on our own land, they're not. Now, I don't know if it's still on the books, but I read it, the one that was. I read the one that was passed. I read that bill, and that bill was really specific. And every inmate in the feds has read it. I promise. It gets passed around a lot because this is a subject people bring up. Because if you got a life sentence, what do you think you're waiting for? You're praying for that. Huh? You got a life sentence? Yeah, you're hoping something like that happens. Or a natural disaster hits the prison so you can run. I mean, honestly, if you're doing life in prison, some guys kind of fall into, they say, this is my life. I'm not going to be able to do anything like this. So I'm going to be the best me I can be right here. And that's a very cool concept. Q is amazing. Got the best attitude in the world, and he's got 2 life sentences. Right? But he's rare. He's really rare. Most people dream of trying to escape, trying to get out. And this is a subject that comes up all the time in prison. And I have seen the bill that was signed. I don't know if it's still on the books or not, but the bill then said very specifically, you know, pick your poison. You're going to end up right? Smoked or whatever. You're going to get out if you're under 5 years. And if not, you're in trouble. Yeah, no, Tylenol 3, if you've never done any kind of pain medicine, well, then codeine will probably light you up. And I know people are listening to me going, oh man, you know how high I've gotten on codeine? Because you drank it, right? The liquid stuff, we're not talking about Tylenol 3 with codeine, right? Liquid like promethazine and stuff like that had codeine in it, that's a completely different animal, man. It's a different animal. We're not talking about the same thing. But the Tylenol 3, man, holy crap. I used to eat those things like they were nerds. I'm not being funny. You know what I mean? Have a mouthful of them. And it's just, oh God, that stuff's awful. It was not effective at making you feel not sick. I got on the plane like a dumbass because somebody said to me, oh, you buy Tylenol 3 over there. You know, it's anything to worry about. And I got on the plane and I got there and I went down and bought all of it, right? Bought as much of it as I could. Just continued to eat it. Took the edge off. It didn't even make me itchy. See, that's as crazy as this sounds. The people that hate that, I hate that itch. For us, for addicts who like opiates, if you're an opiate addict, that itch is the nicest thing in the entire world. I was being a wise Alec, but here's what I mean. When you take a drug, 72 hours, right, is about the amount of time it takes to get a drug out of your system. They also say, what's the half-life? How long does it take for the dose that you have taken for your body to process half of that out? Nothing I have ever seen has a longer half-life than doluphine, or whatever. What do they call it? Doluphine, methadone. And that's the concept, right? If you're taking 80 milligrams on Monday, or you take 100 milligrams on Monday, and the following day, you still got 70 or 80 in you, you take another 100. The following day, you're not through from the first day, right? And you still got the second. Now you're taking a third. By 2 months in, you got so much of this pain med in your body that if we start taking you down a little bit, you're not even going to notice. It's going to be a long time before you notice, right? Because you got so much of it in your system. Well, I don't necessarily think that's a great thing, but different people, there are people who really think it's fantastic. Tommy, that much Tylenol is so hard on the liver. No question, Janet G. 500 times worse than the pain medication is the acetaminophen or the whatever, depending on what drug you're taking. The non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug is the worst thing in the world for your liver, 10 times. So if you're at a pain specialist, they're not giving you stuff like Vicodin, right? They're not giving you stuff like Percocet, because those drugs have an NSAID built into them, because that's logical. Pain is usually caused by inflammation. Makes a lot of sense if we're trying to treat pain, get the inflammation down, give them a little painkiller for a kick. Sounds great, right? Sounds good. But the trouble is, it starts building up and building up and building up, and your liver takes a beating. So if you're going to be taking it full time, they have stuff that does not, like if you take morphine sulfate's got nothing in it, right? There's no NSAID in it. It's just morphine. And if you're taking, there are a lot of drugs out there that they treat people, people's pain with that don't have anything in it. Itching is so not a friend. Well, yeah, that feeling of guys rubbing their nose, that to an opiate addict, that tells you that life is great, as sick as that is, right? That itch is really something that makes most addicts pretty happy, pretty gross, right? So it's a really unusual concept. Soma, carisoprodol, is excellent medication for spinal disease and the big C. Good luck getting it. So you're right. Doctors are really backing off of writing scripts for Soma. They're just not, we're not seeing it as much as that used to be such a popular drug. They were always writing scripts for it. Like when I was in high school and college, this Soma was everywhere. And it's a great book, right? I mean, it's a great name. It came from Brave New World. I think it was Brave New World, right? Yeah. They would go on Soma holidays. So they stole the name from the book. It was a long way before the drug. But Flexeril is a muscle relaxant. And yeah, uh, doesn't what's Flexeril? Isn't that cyclobenzaprine? I think it's cyclobenzaprine is the chemical name. If I'm wrong, then it's a different one. And Neurontin is gabapentin. Neurontin is the name brand. Gabapentin is the chemical name. And Flexeril is the name brand. And I think cyclobenzaprine is the name of the drug. I could be wrong. Yeah, Crafty Witch says having liver issues now because of the meds I've taken over the last 15 years. Me too. See, Flexeril is cyclobenzaprine. Thank you, Cricket. Look at that. Not bad for a guy with whose brain's shutting down, huh? Can still remember the dope. Having liver issues now because of the meds I've taken over the last 15 years. Me too. Me too. Now, the good news is that there's almost nothing on earth that bounces back quite like a liver. When you stop beating on your liver, it's incredible how quickly that puppy will come back. I mean it. I'm not making this up. I've watched unbelievable miracles happen with people who are drinkers and people that just abused the crap out of their liver. You know that when they do liver transplants, they don't give you a whole liver, right? They do what's called a lobal transplant. They take a lobe from somebody's healthy liver and they put it in your body and it grows into a full liver. The liver is the most amazing organ. It's really pretty phenomenal. My clinic switched from tramadol to Flexeril, and I never even noticed. How about that? My dad is a firefighter. He told me about the overdoses he's gone to. It's heartbreaking. My preconceived thoughts and beliefs have changed since coming here. TV shows don't show half of the reality. No, they absolutely do not. They don't show any of the reality. And what's worse, right? What's worse is we come away with, like we have preconceived notions of what addicts are, right? The people that overdose. Those are street people, right? Those are people that that are standing out there doing this stuff. Here, check this out. Let's see here. Does that guy look like a street junkie? Huh? That is the gentleman who just overdosed on fent. Sorry, he is and I'm going to post this up on the boat. But that's what people look like now, right? These aren't street people. You can't see, right? You no longer see what somebody. You can't look at someone and go, right? Dope fiend. Those days are over. I mean, sometimes it's easy to spot, but I promise you, so many people are flying under the radar on pain meds. They have a liver cleanse you can do, and you depose of the fatty pieces. Check with the doctor before you do that, please. Right? Please check with the doctor before you do that. I did one of these. When I was on the street and I was married to my ex-wife, the last one, the second wife. And I did a liver cleanse, right? Because my liver was not in great shape. And we bought one of those liver cleanses and I did it. And it almost killed me. Not even being remotely funny. It almost killed me. I had a stroke, right, while doing this liver cleanse. And it took away everything in my body that was healthy in terms of what's the word I'm looking for? You have flora and fauna in your body, right? Well, everything I had in there died. It's called C. cardiff. The stuff almost killed me. So talk to a doctor because a lot of the stuff that you buy, it's not FDA approved. Check, make sure the medications you take are all good because it's scary. Soma, that's what I hoped for, a Clockwork Orange. I was so disappointed to find and get and have a ton and remain totally awake and sober. The drug absolutely has a reputation that is probably that whole Soma holiday thing, right? In the book they make a very big deal. That's how they control the masses, right? You don't go on vacation. They just give you this drug and you chill out and get high at the house. And that's the whole world, right? In that book. So when somebody made a drug and called it Soma, sorry, somebody just made my day. You know that? I got a text and it was funny as hell and it just made my day. I'm not going to lie to you. It was quibble, but she was being funny. Yeah, you know what, Jamie Palmer? There's no nobility in ignorance, right? It's a lot more fun. I promise you, it's a lot more fun, right? Is it too late to take the other pill? Right? Is it too late to take the blue pill? Isn't that the one that sends you back to being to not knowing? Because I don't know how bad that would be if they sent me back to not knowing. But I know, I do, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life fighting this. Has anyone ever taken anything that has helped someone with rage, anger, and aggression? In my experience, if the rage rises to a level where the person is dangerous to others, there are drugs that they can give those people. What it does is it kind of zombifies them, right? It takes people and makes them docile. It does not turn them into it doesn't turn them into a nicer version of themselves. It turns them into a wasted version of themselves in terms of like being wasted. They're very, very strong drugs. The other option, right, is to actually try to treat the rage, the anger, and the aggression because they're coming from somewhere, right? If you've got built up rage and anger somewhere inside of you, is that stuff that needs to be let out, right? And we do that through talking with other people. We do that through journaling. We do that through peer support, which is what we do here. Yeah. And it's probably not the answer everyone, you would have liked. It would be awesome if we could take a pill that would fix those things. I have not seen that, right? In Carnosol, if you kill the helpful bacteria, only the unhealthy will be left. Yep. Particular cluster. Yeah, there you go. C. diff. That's what I had. It was awful. It was freaking awful. Thank you, Sam Fibro, folks. Appreciate it. And welcome to the boat. I'm pretty sure I have not welcomed you before, so welcome to the boat. Bacon bits. Tell me it's not been that long. 8 months? Holy hell. Lady Spellbreaker says, psilocybin helps me with rage and electronic dance music. There you go. Right? Are you microdosing that? Right? You don't mean, I mean, there are people, you could probably go either way on that. Like a medication lobotomy. Wow, what a great way to say it. Yeah, like a medical lobotomy. Absolutely. Right? If you've ever seen somebody on a lot of Seroquel, if you've ever seen somebody on a lot of Thorazine, right? It's not funny, but in prison, the fellas call it the Thorazine shuffle. Because when you see guys that have been on it for too long, right? Now they have medications to give to people that have been on it too long so they don't get the T-Rex, they get the Thorazine shuffle. The hands go up like T-Rexes, right? The elbows, and they just sort of shuffle. It's absolutely horrific. It's horrific. And when you're in prison, you'll look at guys and go, oh, man. Like you just know that dude came in and he was maybe a school shooter, right? And somebody that was just super, super angry, super pissed off. And they started putting them on large amounts of antipsychotics. Cut up drugs. They don't help the patient feel better. They just pacify the patient. So they're not a problem for the other people. It's not something necessary, but it's not great. That's right. There it is. Booyah. That's exactly right. Honestly, be a whole lot better off if you sat down and started to work through that. Oh, you know something, Caddy? Here's the deal. As far as, do you know why? No, as far as caged animals, don't trip about that. Okay? Now, if they were to just leave an inmate, you have any idea how fast he'd be out? Guys don't escape from prison because there are guards on the outsides of the doors, not because of the cells. I promise you, there's not an inmate in the BOP that couldn't get out of his cell in a half hour if he could make all the noise he wanted and he didn't have anything to worry about. He'd get out of there in a half hour, right? The toilet has to attach to the wall. That makes sense? This is a big one-piece metal toilet and sink, and it has to attach to the wall. If you get to the side of it and start kicking on it as hard as you can, it makes a lot of noise, and a guard will come to your cell really pissed off. But if there aren't any guards, you can kick that thing as hard as you want, and when it separates away, you're in what's called the pipe chase, right? Now you can crawl through there and go up in the pipes, and you can either go up to the top and drop down, or you can go down and try to kick out the, because there's a door, right? The pipe chases all have doors you can go in and out of. Kick the hell out of it. If that doesn't work, keep going up. But it wouldn't be hard to get out. You wouldn't have to worry about that. The reason people can't get out is it's got nothing to do with how well the cell's built. It has to do with the fact that there are dudes out there on the outside. Got it? So don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Am I in your dreams? I hope so. But no, I'm really here. And I'm here every night at 7:30 California time. I remember when they re-autopsied Eric Harris, right? One of the Columbine shooters, expecting to see he quit the antidepressant meds. Only problem was he was still loaded with them. That is an absolute fact. He did not. He did not at all stop taking his meds. He was still taking Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. There you go. Booyah. Not bad. Not bad. It's a compound in mushrooms. Many of the mushrooms will work together. Reishi, shiitake. Okay, I can't take any of those. I can't take any of those. Sadly, I can't take any of those. Yeah. May have thought of this. No. Well, I mean, here's the thing. Guys, you do think of it. Like you sitting there and a guy will say to you, man, how hard do you think it would be to get out of this cell? Right? If they left us alone. Well, it wouldn't be very hard. I promise you it wouldn't. I watched a dude that they were terrified. They did not want to go in the cell to get this guy because he was frightening, right? He was a 1% motorcycle gang member. Doesn't matter which club. But this dude was about 7 feet tall and 300 pounds, maybe 350 pounds. He was in shape. He's the biggest dude you ever saw. He was terrifying, and he got really pissed off because they did something to anger him, and he started to destroy the bunk bed, which is made of angle iron, right? This is just welded angle iron. This cat, before they went in to get him, took the entire bed apart, broke all the legs off of the bed, and was using that to go at the door. They had originally intended him to let him wear himself out, and then they realized that if they kept waiting, that door was coming down. So they had to go in there and gas him. Lady Spellbreaker, 2 years, no cigarettes today. How good is that? I could see a 3 foot tall participation trophy. All I can picture is John Goodman in that scene from Raising Arizona. As he tunnels up through the dirt. Oh, that's such a great scene. That's such a great movie. Such a great scene. Well, Insanity, how about that? That's fantastic. I love it when people are gifted a membership. Woohoo! All right, Crafty Witch, good to see you. I'm wrapping this puppy up, people. I didn't even finish all of my Chipotle. I'm going to go up and knock that down. Yeah, you would want him out. They wanted him strapped down. That's what they wanted him. He was a really big dude. He was a big and frightening dude, and they were standing outside watching him. I remember my cellmate was like, he's going to tire himself out. And then you heard the boom, boom. I'm like, he's going to take that door down. I don't think bro's getting tired, but he's getting pissed. They ended up hitting him with Halidol. You guys know that? Halidol, you ever heard that one? Or maybe it was Halcyon. It was one or the other. I mean, it was one of those H antipsychotics. It was like Halidol or Halcyon or one of those. But went in, stuck it in him, and whatever they did, when they pushed that plunger down, that fool was asleep in a matter of seconds. For real. I got a bowl, my Chipotle order. I got a bowl. It's got a lot of meat in it. I'm a meat guy. I really am. Sadly, I eat way too much meat. Hold on one second. After breaking a ton of dishes, beating a tree with a metal chair, and tearing the pages out of my favorite books, my psychiatrist put me on Boost Bar for about 2 to 3 months. We worked on the issues. Boost Bar. I don't know if you've ever done Boost Bar, but Boost Bar is really popular inside the prison system. Now, when I got to prison, the guy that I moved in with I woke up in the morning and I rolled over and guy doing a line. I was like, "Hey, bro, what are you snorting?" And he goes, "Boost Bar." So never heard of it. He's like, "You want to try and catch a buzz?" I said, "Yeah, lay one out." It was horrific. Now you take it orally, I don't know what happens, but when you snort that stuff, oh my God, it's awful. Tommy, can you share the post of my missing cousin Angela? Today is her birthday. Um, yeah. Uh, where is it and how can I get to it? I have no problem with sharing it, Lady Spellberg. If you tell me where it is, or if somebody with a wrench wants to throw it up, go ahead and do that. I have no problem with that. Absolutely. Angela K. Marsky has been missing 12 years. With everything going on today, they found 12 bodies in a town by me recently. You know what? I have always been of the firm belief that you don't give up until you give up, right? You just don't. It's on your community tab. I have no problem sharing that. I'll just have to find it and get it. I don't give up hope, right? Don't give up hope. I've seen some pretty wild stuff happen. She was an addict that went missing. You know what? Doesn't make any statistic either, sadly. The number of people who are addicted to drugs who currently no one knows where they are is a staggering amount of people as well. A lot of them do show up. Here's the thing. When you're an addict, time means nothing. Time means absolutely nothing, right? No one, you don't care. You don't care what's going on with the world or the people that you used to know. It is so easy to have 4, 5, 6 years go by without missing a beat. A decade's nothing to a junkie. I'm sorry, but it's the truth, right? Nothing changes for an addict. Nothing. It's Groundhog Day. You get up, you do dope, you go to bed. You get up, you do dope, you go to bed. Somewhere in there, you got to do a little stealing or some prostituting yourself so that you can pay for it. But it's the same crap every day, sadly. I will get that Lady Spellbreaker and I will put that out there. I think that'd be a great idea. Lori Hart, hope you have a good doctor in the morning. A good trip to the doctor in the morning. All right, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow here on a boat between now and then. But you reach out and try to save somebody. It is what we do, right? All right, folks. Good night.